What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the third mixtape by R&B singer and rapper Drake. Basically, this product is called So Far Gone, and it came out in the winter of 2009. So the thing about this particular stuff is just the fact that Drake had been putting out a series of mixtapes throughout the late 2000s. As far as those pitches kind of particularly happened, he was kind of coming up as like a pseudo kind of R&B type rapper, kind of like a little bit more of like an R&B type fashion is something that Flo Rida and Nelly were kind of doing, but it was a pretty good concept because he had a lot of similarities to folks like Usher and Omarion and like Trey Songz, some of those type of folks in particular as far as that kind of went. But this is like a classic mixtape here, I would definitely have to say. I mean, but the fact that Drake's kind of getting in today's times, I think a lot of folks possibly forget about the impact that Drake kind of had around this time. Just, I mean, I realize that this is almost 16 years ago, but I look up, this is some superb kind of quality stuff here. Easily, not just classic mixtape, probably classic album, just out of the late 2000s in general. It did a lot. Was one of the ones that helped kick off like the streaming era and some pitches like that. Some of the initial type fares. There's a lot of songs on here that just feel perfect for Spotify, despite the fact that it's only been on Spotify and streaming services for like the past 5 years. I'd say, but it's just kind of concept. Still has some impactful type ones. There's some songs off this album like Best I Ever Had and Successful that are just quality hits that really lit up like the late 2000s, early 2010s. Drake was obviously revolutionary around this time, did plenty of these things, and it just set a lot of trends that helped kick off a lot of different eras as far as those pitches can happen. Not just that, Drake was a part of the Young Money movement. He helped put Drake was a part of the Young Money movement. He helped highlight Lil Wayne and get him back further into the spotlight after like his prison sentence and pitches like that. It was kind of the concept that, I mean, Lil Wayne was definitely invigorated with the Carter 3 throughout 2008, but after that particular pitch, just between like Dedication 3 coming out and this particular product, Lil Wayne had an extended fire lit amongst him. Lil Wayne had an extended fire lit amongst his ass that got him even further inspiration between dropping products like Rebirth, the Young Money album, and I Am Not a Human Being, some of those type pitches. So it's just an excellent time for Cash Money and just overall pitches like that. Drake definitely was a highlight type folk and just continues to be even in today's time. So I do think if I had to guess, I would definitely say Drake is playing possum as far as those pitches going to happen. He may have kind of had like folks kind of feel like a ruffled kind of year just in the pitch. There's some folks saying that he just got torn apart by a look after just being able to say. When you look at some of the classics that Drake has dropped, like I would have to go ahead and say that his 2007 mixtape, which I forget what that one's, his 2007 mixtape Comeback Season's pretty close to a classic. This album's definitely going to get a classic score. So far gone. There's really only one song on the original edition that I don't appreciate. I would definitely say Take Care was a classic. Nothing Was the Same was pretty close to a classic. So I mean, it's a good concept that Drake just kind of collects these accolades, just like when he was drinking, like his drinking liquor out of the Grammys. As far as collecting all those Grammys, it's a good concept behind that. But this is just a stock project. So I'd have to say, yeah, basically this was one of the initial first mixtapes that helped kick off like the mixtape craze movement of like the early 2010s and some pitches like that. I mean, it may not have been like the full absolute one responsible, but this is definitely one of the bigger known ones that kind of kicked off the quality of being able to put singles on a mixtape and have them chart as far as those pitches can happen. I mean, mixtapes did have like some degree of quality in like the mid and late 2000s and early 2000s, but in terms of, like a song that was like the number two song in the country, like Best I Ever Had, and then like other charting hits that just were actually like, hey, you can get this for free despite the fact that you're hearing this all over the radio. It's just a good pitch to kind of get some of that. So the first single off this product was Best I Ever Had. Good quality pitch for that. It's like a classic late 2000s trendy pop rap. It's like a classic late 2000s trendy pop rap megaton hit. I would definitely feel like it's very plush and smooth serenade gem to kind of get here, and this just has a bunch of hooky snap about it. So it's just a real Apple type one. Now obviously this is more R&B flavored in mine, so this is not like a club type smash. This is not going to be like Thug Life kind of rugged street type fare, like something from 50 Cent, Tupac, some of those type folks, Old Dirty Bastard, some of those type pitches just within that particular type vibe. I would have to say that it is just an easy kind of extreme highlight that just breeds kind of R&B pop and rap just within that tone. Manages to put in like a superbly quality R&B single. So it's just an easy hit, simple, simplistic, kind of easy, works with the ladies like water as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just simple kind of gem, just kind of have for that relative, just ladies toolkit as far as those pitches kind of go. The stock and classic hit that continues to have some solid airplay and just great melodies on there. It's an easy kind of anchored hit, probably one of the best songs out of the early 2010s, and just the fact that this song came out in 2009, I mean, it was kind of one that, despite the fact that the 2000s decade was almost over, kind of feels more of like a 2010 song just because of the fact that this how much trailblazing it kind of did. But yeah, Drake had a pretty successful 2009. This is one of those songs. Every Girl was another one. There's some songs like Bedrock that were pretty good, successful. I'm Going In, some of those type pitches that just had a lot of that quality type appeal. This would have to say with that. But yeah, this whole mixtape did it. And then the second single was successful. This is like an early kind of Spotify streaming night commerce. I would feel like good concept for that. It's like some after hours activity. I would definitely have to say. And pop rap wise, this is like some after hours activity. Pop rap wise, I would have to say in particular with that. And this is a very underappreciated song from Drake. So I just would have to say this was a top 20 single on the Billboard 100. Pretty dope concept. Kind of get that as far as I would kind of have it. Just the fact that two singles charted that particularly heavily is just a good overall appeal that that particularly kind of had. But look, after this is kind of like I don't know the exact origin of when Spotify came out. I know it was around by like 2012, 2013. I think the concept this is the sort of stuff between Tinashe, Drake, The Weeknd, some of those type folks that just kind of had some of these more looming and sprawling type appeals behind it. But Drake was doing this as far back as late 2008, early 2009. So it's definitely a pretty excellent pitch. Very trendy type project. This has a lot of that original flavor. Just realizing that it wasn't just Spotify era that kind of did it. This is some of the ones that helped amalgamate that sound. So definitely very sporty, I'd have to say. That's the concept about this particular product. So to recommend the songs on here, basically I'm reviewing like I'm reviewing the 2019 re-release, which is basically the same. It just includes the 18th song, Congratulations. So to talk about the songs I don't recommend on here, basically out of 18 songs, there's really only two songs I don't recommend. Out of the original 2009 package, there's really only one song I don't recommend. So the only song I don't recommend is just Lust for Life, and then I don't recommend the new song Congratulations either, which I look after it. Basically, Lust for Life just didn't really appreciate like that one was just more optimistic and kind of more unctuous than I would have liked. But I mean, I did like some of like the glared and kind of blurry production on there, but I just feel like the overall composition of that song I just didn't enjoy as much. Just would have to say it's a little bit more just like it's like I said, just more kind of peppy and just optimistic, just within the tone more so than I would have wanted. I do like some of this optimism on here. I mean, this is a pretty exhilarating type product, but that was just one where I didn't enjoy as much. And then I'd have to say Congratulations was the same sort of tone, just kind of a more congratulative type song, just in particular. But the production for on that one was just not as stellar. I'd have to say it's kind of surprising that this song wound up being on the project just because of the fact that it just really is like dissonant compared to the rest of the project in terms of like the quality that it has. It's not to say it's like a like horrid song, but it is. I feel like the rest of the aspect behind the project just delivered so much better. I'd have to say it was just kind of. I mean, it's there for like the purpose of just congratulative type fare, but I just look after. I think there's probably better songs that could have done that. I just would have to say probably some of those emphasized type ones like Successful and like Unstoppable just nail that particular vibe a lot better. But yeah, this mixtape is definitely going to get a 10 out of 10. Mixtape's definitely going to get a 10 out of 10. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about some of these. Like Ignorant Shit's an obvious nice one. A lot of these, some of the immediate ones I would definitely go for if you do appreciate Lil Wayne pitches like that. And it's easy enough to appreciate Lil Wayne. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. But I look after the back in those days. Back in those days, Lil Wayne and Drake used to do a lot of songs, and those were always like highlighted bops as far as that particular kind of went. But this is like a Jay-Z song, which is called Ignorant Shit off of his American Gangster. Real nice one here. It's like a classic Wayne and Drake team up. I'd have to say good mixtape flavor to definitely get. And it's like a snappy kind of nightclub gliss. I would have to suppose about that. Real just glistening type one. Just real pacey kind of beat here. Just really snaps to it. And they just both these lyricists shred this particular song. It's real good Jay-Z hitter. It's a good song to rap to. It's definitely a good concert kind of get some of this. This really has that glistening type of feel. This is a highlight off of Jay-Z's American Gangster album. It's a highlight on this particular project. It's a real good gem here. Uptown with Bun B and Lil Wayne's another good gem. And then this was also on the So Far Gone EP from 2009, which is just a good bop to kind of get. It's like an R&B flavored kind of UGK summer haze gem. I definitely have to say about this one. It's definitely a Smoke a Couple Uptown outing glaze. I just would have to say it's like the song is definitely like a Smoke a Couple Swishers kind of Uptown outing glaze of a song I would definitely feel like. And it's like some relative makeshift and supplies getting kind of song kind of get here. This basic kind of one is R&B glimmer, just a little bit of makeshift on here. I mean, this project is really not too makeshift oriented. A lot of this is just between like the hours about maybe 6 o'clock p.m. to probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, just after hours slow jam type music. And then the concept of just like some after hours, just kind of get like some simple stuff, get a bottle of wine, get some condoms, get some pitches like that, get some swishers, just some standard fare call it, just get some good food, go out and just simple kind of cruise out as far as that particular pitch kind of goes, just with an aspect of how that particular kind of happens. But let's look after Ignorant Shit is definitely a nice nightclub list. There's not really like a ton of nightclub bops on here. I kind of feel like I said, this is just more of like a kind of schmooze type project and just kind of the after hours glaze of it. But I look after, I do like the overall appeal of Ignorant Shit. I definitely think that's a nice one. That's a nice one, despite the fact that it's not really Drake's own original song, but still pretty good flair. But Uptown is definitely a relative makeshift type one. Houston, Atlanta, Vegas is a pretty quality one here. It's like a starry kind of big city emphaticness to kind of get, and this Drew definitely feel like good melodic highlight and trendy after hours kickback to kind of get. So there are some bedroom boom type ones in like a slow jam type sense. I feel like Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. I'd probably say a night off, and then like brand new or some pretty good vibes to that particular type fare. It's just some nice. The thing about Drake doing slow jams is the fact that he does it in a way where it just doesn't like dampen, or Drake does these slow jams and overall down tempo songs in a way that doesn't dampen the experience as far as those pitches will kind of happen. Just kind of, I don't want to say ruin it, but just kind of aspect where it doesn't detract from it. Just kind of keeps the overall vibe. It's just a better pitch of getting some of this because it just doesn't like a streaming type sense, something that you would get in like a Spotify after hours pitches like that. It just has very like looming, this kind of electronic type feel, just within the aspect, this real nice, like electronic kind of boom bap, just very staccato-esque, but it pulls out the vibe extremely well. So there's a lot of these that kind of do that. It's, like I was saying, it's a very revolutionary album. November 18th is a pretty quality one. It's like a throwback, kind of chopped and screwed, kind of Texas flavored R&B. I would definitely feel like it's like some late 2000s kind of Spotify trailblazing. I would definitely have to say it's a good song to smoke up to. So Drake has like some extra vocals on here that are in the chopped and screwed format that works pretty well. It's a good concept. There's a lot of good kind of Houston type flares about this between songs like Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, Uptown with Bun B, November 18th, that has some of that relative type appeal, just getting towards some of these. So it is kind of an album that has similarities to like the stuff that Kurt Cobain's kind of does, just within the aspect of like some Texas fried kind of R&B, just kind of listen to, and like the after hours pitches like that, just smoke good, just good gems for that. It's a real nice one. Let's Call It Off is a pretty good snappy one. It's like a nice groove about this particular song. Real good foot tapper. Definitely appreciate this one. It's like a Spotify-esque song. It's like a Spotify-esque kind of evening kickback, I would have to say. Definitely like a two-step kind of dance pep I would feel about this one. It's just a glazed kind of evening grace kind of get here. So it's definitely the same night as like some of these more bedroom boom type ones, just after hours kind of slow jams, but it's just within the concept a little bit more two-step, just within the moments where you're not quite as full-blown drunken and malaise as far as those pitches can happen. Just some basic kind of serenade, just after hours 7:30 8 p.m. pitches like that. Good concepts for that. Night Off's another quality one. This is another slow jam type one. It's like a glistening kind of Spotify era staccato slow jam. I would definitely feel like good melodic night pizzazz, I'd have to say. Sip wine, enjoy the after hours. Definitely that concept kind of gets. So this is definitely like some night overall thrills. I do like the concept of this more nightlife type appeal. This particular product, this real starry type one. I feel like this works great for the winter. I'd say it's not just like, I mean, there's that. I feel like probably the only true songs that remind me more of like summertime would just be possibly like Best I Ever Had. Best I Ever Had is definitely like a good summer bounce of a song just to play all summer. But then I look after like Uptown kind of has like some of that summer flavor. But there are a lot of wintry type songs in here, just great for like the holiday winter season pitches like that, from like mid late November to like at least February, March, some pitches like that. So some of those type ones would be A Night Off, Say What's Real, Bria's Interlude, Brand New, some of those type ones. Successful in like certain senses, I'd have to say. Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, so it's just some good concepts for some of that winter brush. Speaking of Say What's Real, it's a pretty quality one. It's like a Kanye West kind of 808s and heartbreak throwback of a song. I'd have to say it's definitely a mixtape gem. Has like a beat from that particular album. I'd say pretty dope enough to kind of get that. It's like a good inspo of a song to kind of get here. It's like some nightlife, kind of demon time, local traverse and outs to kind of get. So it's just the concept, maybe just picking up swishers, some pitches like that, just getting some standard fare, some of that type flavor, just being out and about. Simple kind of errands, just the after hours snap of that. This real another nice stock one to kind of get here. This whole album is just the vibe as far as that particular pitch kind of goes, with like that night kind of smoothness about it. Good pitch behind it. Little bits of quality one. Now this is a different kind of vibe. This one has a little bit more like tropical flavor. It's like a night tropical kind of melodic soother. I would definitely feel like Drake really has some nice melodies on this particular song. So there's this other chick on here like Lee or something like that. So I'd say it's like a It's like an easy kickback, kind of smoke good thrills. I would have to say it's like an uncommon kind of R&B flavor. I would definitely feel like it's a pretty good hitter to kind of get here. This one just has a little bit of step towards. I feel like this is a pretty nice one. Goes pretty good with like Let's Call It Off. I'd have to say these are like some good 1-2 step type ones to kind of get just within that relative tone. Just a little bit of dance groove towards it, but this a little bit of dance groove towards it, but then just a good after hours kickback like most of this album kind of is. I'd have to say so. It's a good pitch for that. Unstoppable is a quality one as well. It's like an evening pep, kind of getting ready for some crazy times. Get supplies, kind of swishers, pitches like that, kind of situate and finish up tasks, I'd have to say. This one's definitely like a companion almost to Uptown with a little bit more bustle in mind. I'd have to say just a good concept that you know you're getting ready to have some good times. It's kind of, this is about the closest thing. I feel like Drake probably needed like a dance club smash on here, something like that. For the most part, this is a lot more just cooler vibes, more. This is a lot more of like a cool personality type, cooler vibes type tone. Doesn't really have like the dance carnage or something like that, or something ravenous where you're gonna get hella torn up. I feel like the closest thing to getting fucked up on this product would just be sipping a few bottles of wine, something like that, standard fare. But I feel like at least Unstoppable is like a more rap oriented type one. Drake does do rap songs on. Drake does have like the occasional turn up song on his albums, but you know, something like Jumpman or some of those type ones. But I just would say it's like a concept, at least like a primer for some of that. But it doesn't really, if you get this project and then you think that there's going to be a song that gets crazier than Unstoppable, it doesn't really have that. I do feel like there's some decent ladies dance crews on here, but it just doesn't have any real club smash that would be a good pairing with Unstoppable, but it's at least a good primer. Sooner Than Later's another quality ones, like a plush after hours kind of hitter. I would feel like goes with A Night Off and Houston and Vegas. I would definitely say good pitches for that, and it's like a steady kind of R&B bop to kind of get here. Just some stock R&B to kind of get just within the concept. Just a lot of these are just interchangeable, just in the aspect of it. Just that the quality of this album just teams with like excitement and originality. So it's just a good concept to kind of get some of these, just some standard interchangeable type ones. This works for the night and multiple nights as far as those pitches kind of happen. It's a good winter type album to kind of get. Bria's interlude has a nice cameo from Omarion on here. Bria's interlude has a nice cameo from Omarion on here. It's like a quality streaming in late 2000s trailblaze hit, I'd have to say. It's simplistic type one, pretty similar to like Successful and Houston Land of Vegas, some of those type ones I'd have to say. Omarion and Drake both nail their particular verses on this song, and it's like a smoke real good and late after hours. It's like a smoke real good and late kickback to kind of get here. So it's just a good tone for that. Just some good kind of marinate and just simple kickback just within the tone behind it. Another differential type one that's a little bit like Unstoppable, has some relative brewing kind of excitement, but not quite as crazy, would be The Calm. It's like some outdoor excitement. I would definitely feel like smoking like the night wind and just feel good kind of demon time living, I'd have to say. Has some original vibes about it, and it's just an overall good song. So just kind of the appeal. This is a great one to listen to before like a night storm, something like that. Just an ominous night, just kind of a moody type pitch about it. Just some good excitement. Drake really provides like some exhilarating vibes on this song. Once again, this album doesn't have like the pitch behind it as far as something that's going to be like the carnivorous kind of thunder off this product, but it is just a nice brewer to kind of get. Do appreciate this song along with Unstoppable, I'd have to say. Brand New is a nice one as well. As like similar vibes to Night Off, and this reminds me of Trey Songz, some of his slow jams as far as those pitches kind of happen. It's like a slow jam kind of intake. I would definitely feel like this like a basic kind of night vibe, and it knocks pretty well, I'd have to say. So it's just the production type fare of these just really has like a Spotify S. Brand New, like some of these ones I was saying, just has like a Spotify S, just kind of down tempo slow jam as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just quality ones on here, just stock, just ladies jams, just kind of get this quality stuff. And then outro is a quality one. I like this one in particular. This doesn't have any vocals on here, but this is a real good highlight. Do appreciate this one quite a bit. It's like a wintry kind of wind down, I would feel like, in stellar kind of piano night ride off. Good concept. This has like a good holiday feel. Great to listen to late November, December pitches like that. Just appreciate the winter. Good January music as well. Just in when like this trees are scraggly pitches like that. Just cold winter brush and winds. So it's like a smoke good, kind of somber and moody kind of gem to kind of get here. So it's just a nice appeal. The piano solo on the song, if it says it's by a cat named Chili Gonzalez, so he does pretty good piano work. Be a good concept to see more songs like that, but just has some nice winter appeal. So I look after it. Yeah, this mixtape gets a 10 out of 10. The Soja score I'm gonna go ahead and give like a 9.75 out of 10. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but I do feel like the quality of it, I don't know. I look after. I mean, it might as well be a 10 out of 10 just because the impact behind it is trailblazing. It had all these ladies gems. It had like these summer smashes. The social score I would give like a 9.75, but I think I'm gonna just give it a 10 out of 10 because I look after the appeal behind it. For me to knock this particular score just because it doesn't have like a dynamite club smash, I kind of look after is just kind of here and there as to whether or not it matters. I mean, I feel like this is a classic project either way, and I just look after it. It has like the winter brush about it, the after hours kickback. This is a great album, like I was saying, for like between 6 o'clock p.m. to about 3, 4 in the morning as far as those pitches kind of happen. Has plenty of good appeals behind it. It's good after hours type concepts just to be able to get some good social bite just within the impact of it. This is like a classic kind of R&B project. Definitely did a lot. It was trendy. Helped kick off like the Spotify movement. Pitches like that. It was kind of a conduit between late 2000s R&B stuff like T-Pain and Usher to more of folks like The Weeknd and like Tinashe and folks like that. I'd have to say some more type stuff. Justin Bieber, some more of those type folks, but this would look after this overall has some good appeal, has some quality hit singles. Best I Ever Had was a huge smash, especially for a free mixtape. It was the top 3 single and top 2 single, really. I'd have to say Successful is pretty good as well. There's just some good moments. Lil Wayne is on here and he shreds the songs that he's on. Has some R&B folks on here. Bun B's on here. Just some good concepts like that. So for the most part, it might as well get a 10 out of 10. That's what I'd say. Just because it doesn't have like a dance club hit or something get full blown tore up to. It's just kind of the concept. Just more personal complaints that I'd say. So that's the concept. 10 out of 10 social. In terms of the future, like Drake is supposedly working on stuff. He last put out a product in late 2023. I think it was For All the Dogs, but then he also dropped like an EP on top of that. And he might have dropped like some other projects. He at least was in a beef with Kendrick recently, so I'd have to say about that. We'll have to see what else kind of happens here. I do have some other Drake projects in mind to get to. We're definitely going to get back to some of these Drake projects. I am going to eventually review some of his further albums, like If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, and some of those type ones. So those are some ones to get to. But yeah, this classic mixtape, R&B mixtape, did a lot. Very important, trailblazing, revolutionary pitches like that. So overall, thrill of a time, a good winter brush.